I was thrown in jail 3 times in 3 different states, all in the same year. Don't do what I did.
Did you discover a why, and that's why you snapped yourself out of that funk you were in?
And that's maybe 1%. These are the lessons that we learned from them. We don't want you to make the same mistakes we did.
This is a conversation I got to have with United States military veteran Jeff Adams, who served in the Special Forces. And when he got out, started a company called So Fast, which teaches special operations, shooting, and fighting tactics. Pretty incredible, right? In this conversation, we talk about why he went in the military, his time he spent in the military, and when he got out, how he had to rediscover his why. And we talk about how Warrior Rising helped him discover that why, helped him get the knowledge and tools he needed to start his own business. So you guys get ready, because this is one of the baddest dudes on the planet, and he's about to tell you all about the incredible things that he's done.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to one of the baddest dudes on the planet. This is Jeff Adams, who I just met. I learned that he has been in the military for quite some time. When did you get in the military?
1991. I did 21 years.
21 years in the military.
Yes, sir.
And he heard we're building a gunship, so he had to come check it out for himself, right?
Yes, absolutely. Watching you guys overseas and during deployments and seeing the crazy horsepower and the lift kits and the durability of what you guys do seems like the perfect marriage between your guys' creativity and capability and the needs that we have in Special Forces. So you guys coming on doing this for us is just wonderful. It's great.
It's a relationship that needed to happen, I think.
I think it did. And when I saw you guys' Black Hawk video too, I was like, oh yeah, I'm sure the Black Hawk guys have a lot of great ideas for you guys.
They do.
They will, yes.
But listen, we wouldn't be able to do the builds or anything if it wasn't for you guys out there fighting for our country. So thank you, first and foremost. We really appreciate the service you guys did. Let's revisit the why. Tell me first, what was your why? Why did you join the military? Why did you get involved with that?
I joined the military, like a lot of guys. I lacked a sense of purpose and direction. I didn't want to be the guy working at the local gas station while all of my friends went off to college. I was also not mature enough to go to college. It would have been a wasted investment for my parents. I wanted adventure, and so, I looked at the be-all-you-can-be Army commercials, right? Remember those?
Yeah.
Like early in the morning, guys getting up and getting after it, and so that's what I did, and I joined the Army.
With the intent to become a Green Beret?
No.
Just Army.
I joined the Army in artillery, and I was just not satisfied when I got there because it wasn't, the recruiter always lies to you, right? So in 93, we had this situation, October 3rd, 93, in Mogadishu, Somalia, called Black Hawk Down. And it was my first time getting to see, Rangers and Delta and Special Forces guys really bringing it, right? These were real warriors. I felt like a fake amongst these guys. Like, these guys were bad. And when I went through the Special Forces qualification course, that was the impetus for me going. And then when I went through the Special Forces qualification course, these guys who I'm thinking are giants, right? And they're like, they can do no wrong, right? They came in to talk to us, and they basically just impressed me so much because they said, don't do what I did. They're so humble, and they said, these are the mistakes that we made. These are the lessons that we learned from them, and we don't want you to make the same mistakes we did. And I was like, wow, that's a man that's so self-confident, right? He's got that quiet confidence about him that he's able to share his mistakes with others and be vulnerable, and I want to be like him. That's exactly what I remember. I want to be like him. So that's what led to it. And then toward the end of the career, like teaching Jason and his teammates and all the other teams that I got to teach, I was fortunate enough to teach. I followed in that same model, don't do what I did, right? And don't make the mistake that I made. I thought guys appreciated that more. Instead of, standing up on a podium and beating my chest and saying, look at, how tough I am, it was, don't do what I did. Yeah.
So you served 21 years in the military.
Yep.
You get out.
Yep.
And explain what that felt like.
Oh, so when I got out, the silence was maddening. I went through a very dark period. I was self-medicating. I became an alcoholic. I was up to about a half a gallon of tequila a day. And I was just train wrecking, all my relationships, my family, everything was going downhill, and it was starting to spiral. And it was finally after I was thrown in jail 3 times in 3 different states, all in the same year, that I decided enough's enough. And let me find my why. Yeah. So step 1 was sober up, right? And restore my relationship with my wife, you know, who I've been married to for 31 years. She stuck with me through it all. You know what I mean?
She's
amazing.
Awesome.
She's yeah. I married up, man. I married up. Yeah, wonderful woman. And then my sons, you know, they were seeing me. I was telling them the right thing to do, but my sons were like me. They were watching what I did instead, right? So I had to show them through my actions what right looked like, not just tell them.
Yeah.
That was a mistake that I learned from, and I tell everybody, don't do what I did, right? So, after I was able to, you know, pull myself up by my bootstraps and, you know, get a fresh shave and look myself in the mirror again, you know, then I set off to start conquering it again. And did some government contracting, which was fun. And then decided, you know what, I'm tired of being away from my family. I just fixed my family. I don't want to be away from them anymore. Yeah. I want to start my own business doing the things that I love, you know, shoot, move, communicate. And, you know, I like to fight. So the military today, the Army and the Marine Corps, they've got new combatives programs, right? And the cool thing about these programs is you're taking on a guy, it's 100% resistance, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not fake, like, you know, choke me like this. It's real fighting.
No, he's
and so
kill you.
Yeah. So the guy from Second Ranger, I believe he was in Second Ranger at the time. His name is Matt Larson, right? Mm-hmm. He's been on Kung Fu Karate Magazine, and he's the founder of combatives, right? And finally, at the age of 50, doing combatives all my life, I finally got into the combatives Black Belt Guild, right? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of a facet of my company, right? So my company is Team So Fast. And I thought, you know, you need to have a cool acronym for your name, right? Your company, because it's a military company, so you need an acronym.
Yeah.
And so that stood for Special Operations Fighting and Shooting Tactics, right? Okay. So that allows me, you know, from my business model and design to focus on shooting, fitness, fighting. In the civilian world, all that, you know, transfers over to preparedness and readiness and whatnot. I've done, you know, active shooter scenario trainings with organizations before, and I have to maintain relevancy. I spoke to you about this before, but one of the things that I believe in, at least while I was active, was I don't want some old has-been to come in and teach me, right? So that's why, you know, I actively compete every single year, and that's what you have to do in this, to be in this Black Belt Guild run by Mr. Matt Larson, and he teaches at West Point. You know, you have to fight every year. You have to be in a shooting competition every year. You have to be in an endurance event every year. Do a tactical medicine course every year. Well, fortunately, I teach those courses, and I compete in 5 of these events every single year. And fortunately enough, I've got a few sponsors that help me out with, you know, travel and ammunition to be able to go do these things. That. Yeah, now it allows my company to stay relevant, right? Just like when I told you, watching your company and watching you guys, you know, as a brotherhood pivot several times throughout your guys' career, you know, I feel like I'm on that ride with you guys, right? And getting to see that, it renews your interest. And
you're going to be on the ride with us once we finish this truck.
I can't wait. I can't wait. We're going to do it, man. It's going to be awesome. I look forward to it.
What do you think? Did you discover a why, and that's why you snapped yourself out of that funk you were in? Or what is it that you discovered that got you out, you think?
So, you know, getting out of that funk, my why was I didn't want to let my wife and my kids down. Yeah. Right? You know, my family were traditional. We're one of the few families in America that had a mom and dad, you know, raise their kids all the way through leaving the nest. So I didn't want to let them down, right? And I wanted them back in my life because, like I said, I was, you know, train wrecking the stuff early on. And then finding the why, my purpose in this business, right, came from guys like Jason Van Camp that helped me, right? they saw me when I was at my worst, and they didn't leave. They didn't, run for the hill, say, pop smoke and get away from this guy. They should have probably.
They knew their brother needed some help.
They gave me tough love, and they stuck it out with me. And, because of that, I was able to, go forward clear-eyed and start looking at, all right, look, I need to get my fitness and my health back, right? So that's where the competitions and events come in. And honestly, I'm afraid to lose my why now. So what I actually do is, my favorite form of competition is called the tactical games. And I have this, I've just been doing it 2 years. And my favorite thing to do now is, while I'm going through this weekend of suck fest, right? Absolute suck fest. While I'm there, I actually enroll in the next event I'm gonna do. So
you can't get through Suckfest and say, I don't want to do that anymore. You've already enrolled in another one.
I've already got a monetary investment, in it. And so it gives a sense of purpose and direction to my fitness and to my shooting and everything else that I need to stay, recent and relevant in my business. So I'm making sure that, if I get when you get to go to the national championships, I'm literally getting to compete with the most fit and the best shooters, in the world. And going there and competing against these guys, I get to say, wow, would you teach me how to do that, right? And these guys are they're, top name, Vortex Optics and,
That's why I asked you in another room if you train people. I was like, I already wanted that.
So,
what do we do?
Yeah, these are world-class guys, and I'm constantly I'll pick Jerry Mitchell's brain, I'm sure he doesn't know me because everybody goes to him asking for questions and stuff, but this is a guy who's got the dubious title of being the fastest shooter ever, and so I get to see guys of that caliber, right? Whether it's shooting, whether it's fitness, right? And ask them questions. And so my diet regimen, my fitness regimen, my shooting regimen, it continues to grow and grow and grow and grow. And I'm constantly taking notes. I'm constantly humbled by these guys, and I'm constantly learning from them. So I like to take that information, and I look at, what we do in Special Forces, and then what is the civilian world doing, and then how can I find that balance, right? And so that's been, a joy. It's been a real pleasure. It puts a smile on my face. Shooting guns competitively and competing is something that, I guess it's one of the few things that I haven't gotten tired of.
Yeah.
Because I'm one of these guys, once I conquer something and I accomplish that goal, I want to move on.
Yeah.
And, these are the only two things that I really haven't felt that for, I've never grown tired of it.
Do you think it's because you're teaching other people too how to do it?
I really do.
Yeah.
I really do. When I get to,
you let your legacy carry on through other people.
It's funny you say that. My biggest reward is seeing, this young man with a smile on his face, a little swagger in his step, right? Walking off this was some great training, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's using my training to prepare him for his next competition, right? And to me, that's the biggest compliment the guy could give me, you know what I mean? Is that young man a little cocky in his attitude, right? And he got that from me.
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't have to be cocky to give it to him, right? But he gets to go forward, and my only wish is I want him to take first. I don't compete to take second place, and I hope he doesn't either.
It's the same attitude that the Warrior Rising guys have. It's like you're training someone to be the best. You want them to be the best, and that's why they're helping all the veterans out so that they can be the best in business.
They are.
It's really cool to see how you guys work.
Yeah, and I think that the gun truck that you guys are building for us at Warrior Rising, and once you're in Warrior Rising, it's like you're part of it. You know what I mean? Like I'm Warrior Rising. Yeah. So you're building a gun truck for us, and that's so special for me and all of us. Just the name, invokes a lot of memories and missions and stuff that have been some close calls and some funny calls, and some everything in between. So I'm just thankful.
Well, we're thankful because we get to do what we love. We get to do what we love, building trucks, doing all this stuff because you guys fought for our country. We love America, and it's like our way of saying, hey, we would love to help you guys with your Warrior Rising mission. It's like, this is our chance to kind of say thanks and give back just a little bit. That's we're all about it.
You know, there's guys on Armed Forces Network overseas watching you. You know what I mean? And you know, I was one of those guys periodically, and you just, it's so cool to be here sitting with you, right? And getting to see you guys do, you know, your heart and, you know, off camera, you know, how genuine you are. And what you see on camera, you know, is the real you, you know, and it's like, wow, okay.
Good.
And yeah, a
I'm
lot
not
of
a great actor,
there's
so
a lot
it's gotta be me.
of yeah, well, yeah, you guys are very authentic, and you know, coming here and getting to see the stuff that you guys are working on behind the scenes, you know, is a special treat for me, you know, and I hope my sons are watching this, you know.
Anytime you need a special treat, you're welcome here.
I appreciate it. I
Awesome,
appreciate it.
awesome.
You know, you've taken care of us at Warrior Rising, and you're taking care of us, and I can't wait for the reveal and everybody to see this, because I got to see parts of it.
Yeah.
And you guys are gonna love it, like I tell you. And you guys have done so much for other vets as well. You know what I mean? You guys are constantly helping us out, and so I can't thank you enough.
We love you guys.
You know, I want to thank you on behalf of, you know, my team at Warrior Rising, and you know, the guys that are watching overseas that, you know, draw a lot of inspiration from you guys. They want to do something like you're doing when they get out. So we'll build a framework for them to be able to do it, right? And help them get started, you know. Creating monster vehicles like this. This isn't exactly new, but this is one of the most bomber vehicles I've ever seen. I don't think I have anything in my military inventory that is cool as this. Have you been able to break this?
Not yet.
Not yet. This is the one, right?
This is the one.
This is the one.
This is one we're trying to break it constantly. We haven't been able to break it.
And you haven't been able to break that guy yet, the
We might wanna build
Brodozer.
a couple more.
That thing, yeah, that thing is pretty cool. I really love it.
Well, seriously, thank
I really thank you for having Warrior Rising on here and allowing us the opportunity to share our story with you. Most of us, when we get out, we don't know what our why is now.
Mm-hmm.
So I was asking myself, what am I going to do with this silence? This silence is maddening. I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know how to be a civilian. The last time I was a civilian, I was 19 years old. And so how am I supposed to be a civilian again? And, you know, you look at someone in the military, you can tell in seconds, you know, by their patches and badges, you know, where they've been, what they've accomplished and whatnot. And then you get out of the military and nobody knows you. And so you go through this time period, you know, it's a suck fest, where you're trying to re-identify yourself and find that sense of purpose. And you find your why. Exactly. So I reached out to Jason, or Jason reached out to me to support his Mission 60 company, right? But then, you know, Jason's got a big heart and he wanted to give back to veterans. And so he came up with a nonprofit that has been wildly adopted by all our community and veterans across the board. You don't have to be special operations to take advantage of this, right? Mm-hmm. You can be any branch of service, and it'd be a disservice to you if you were in the military and you wanted to do this, to not take advantage of Warrior Rising. And what Warrior Rising is it's a bunch of vetrepreneurs who have basically done the groundwork for you.
Yeah.
They've made all the mistakes and everything, and they've achieved success, right? And then they've taken that information, they've put it into a training format for young vetrepreneurs, or new vetrepreneurs in my case, to be able to come and learn. And so I've been going through the Warrior Rising program for the last, I'd say, 2 months now. Mm-hmm. And it had a lot to do with an injury I recently occurred during a competition, a shooting and endurance competition. So I had to pivot, right? Mm-hmm. It was like, okay, I'm not gonna sit here and feel woe is me and, feel bad for myself, right? So I was like, okay, I need to shift focus quick. And so I knew, working with Jason in his Mission 60 company, that he ran that nonprofit. And so I looked into it and I dove into it head first. Mm-hmm. And yeah, the knowledge in business that I've learned in the last 6 weeks has made me rewrite my mission statement several times.
Yeah.
It's like, I thought I wanted to do this, but now I'm seeing the reality of business and, you know, the costs associated with it, legalities, licensures, and things like that. And then looking at, you know, my competition, right? And I look at the competition now instead of how am I going to compete with these guys, right? Now I'm looking at them like, how am I going to learn from these guys?
Yeah.
And, as a result of that, it's enabled me to say, okay, I'm taking a different approach to this. My thought process was all wrong, and now that I have these extra tools in my bag, now I'm able to take my company and grow it. And it's all because of Warrior Rising.
And it's probably, you got guys in there that have been successful, like you said. Mm-hmm. But what it sounds like to me is you attribute a lot of their military training styles to how they're coaching these guys get back on their feet, because you veterans are used to a certain regimen every day. Like you're very strict, you're very dedicated, and you work really hard. These guys know how to coach you to success, basically, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because in every profession there's a lot of jargon, right? And to have other veterans use military jargon for you, and the way they break down your business model is based on the military's 5-paragraph op order, right? Your situation, enemy forces, friendly forces, train analysis, what's your mission statement, right? Your 5 W's, who, what, where, why, when is my business. And then, like I said, my mission statements changed several times, right? Then you get to the execution piece, and there's so much in execution. You start with the broad picture, right? And then you start working it down into the weeds and getting into the fine-tuning little aspects of it. Once you have, let's say, your business model is done and your mission statement is done, right? Then you got to go into the next paragraph of the military op order, which is your service and support, right? And this is, my marketing, my advertising, how am I getting my branding? How am I getting all this stuff out there, right? And it's creating a team. Because if you're trying to go it alone, you're not going to succeed. Yeah. You need a team. And that's one of the first things that I learned about Warrior Rising was, surrounding myself with guys that had a winning attitude and, wanted success. Yeah. So partnering together does that. And the last paragraph of the military op order is, your command and signal, right? So, in the military, that's, your succession of command, right? So if the guy on top dies, this guy's in charge. If he dies, so on and so forth, right? So you have to have that for military operations. And then signal is, your communication strategy. And that also applies to, your marketing and your communicating with customers and all the other facets of business that can be piled in there. Even for larger businesses, I'm not even there yet, but they're thinking things like HR and stuff like that, right? I'm like, I never thought of that. I've got a veteran's mouth, you know what I mean? I'm probably an HR nightmare, you know what I mean? Yeah, please don't send me to HR. So, that's a great point that you brought up is the terminology that they use. Plus,
jargon is the best word I could have. Yeah. You had best word, jargon.
It's funny too, because a lot of veterans, they get out and they work job after job after job, and they can't stand working for incompetent leadership. They're like, this guy's a weak leader. He's incompetent. I can't work for this guy. And so they have a difficult time doing that. And then what they do is they find a larger veteran business to be a part of, right? I think one of the first ones that really kicked off that would really showed success would probably be like Black Rifle Coffee, right? Evan and Matt, they came out with audacious videos and, they're a marketing company. Yeah. And people thought, no, they're a coffee company. No, they're actually a marketing company. They're like, you know what? Just like Red Bull, right? They're a marketing company. I didn't know that. And they're like, well, we need something to market. So they made energy drinks. Yeah. You know what I mean? So seeing stuff like that, gives guys hope. And it gives guys, the idea, I can go about this. I can do this. I can create my vision, my dream that I want to do. I've always wanted to do in my life. And now there's finally a resource for every branch of service to be able to come in and to receive this training that, is, it's honestly second to none. I've taken a lot of college classes and none of it has come anywhere near this, because this is the brass tacks stuff. Yeah. That Warrior Rising teaches you. Like, let's get you successful. Well,
I think it's because it's a group of guys who, in the military, their team is their brothers. It's like brotherhood in the military is thicker than real brotherhood. Yeah. And so they're not going to stand to let one of their guys not get the top level of success. It's
Yeah.
like they are fighting so hard to make sure you got every tool you need
Yeah.
to get every bit of success that
Yeah.
they want you to have.
Yeah.
They're fighting like so many
Yeah.
guys in your corner there to help you be successful in your fight.
Yeah, it's when we talk about the brotherhood, shared adversity, shared suckfest. You go through a lot of these hard and challenging, difficult schools where there's a high attrition rate and a lot of guys want to quit. And
But they ain't
when
gonna let
you
quit.
well, when you get through your brothers won't let you quit. You want to quit, right? When you get through the end of it though, right? Everyone else there, you know that they went through what you went through, and you try to hide it from each other. You know what I mean? I'm all right. I'm good.
Yeah.
Right?
wasn't bad.
I'm crying inside, but yeah. You see these guys there, and you just can't help but admire them. You just can't help but admire them. And we've had, a bunch of vetrepreneurs who are immensely successful that I just celebrate. I celebrate their success. A buddy of mine, Nate, he joined the Army, decided, I want to be Special Forces, okay. Does a bunch of combat, goes and tries out for, a special mission unit and succeeds, right? Comes back because he needs a little more experience in Special Forces, does some combat tours, decides, hey, I'm getting old, I'm in my late 20s, I need to go to college.
Yeah.
Does that, decides he's going to play college football at 29. Never played it before.
Really?
Yeah.
You played the game.
And just by having that mindset, of never quit, that he got in Special Forces, he's a walk-on for the Longhorns. And
That's so awesome.
wait, it gets better. Then the Seahawks pick him up. I'm not kidding. And then it gets better, right? He
one
gets into
mindset.
acting career. Yeah. Have you ever seen that TV series, The Terminalist, from Jack Carr? Navy SEAL, excellent author, excellent book series, right? I've read all of them. Well, they made a TV series about this, right? And the protagonist, the main character, he's basically getting vengeance against these corrupt actors that killed his teammates and his family, right? So the government HRT guys in one of the episodes, they're after him and whatnot. And I'm looking at the screen, I'm like, that's Nate. That's Nate. Nate's on the screen. He was also on the Super Bowl. He did the Super Bowl commercial at halftime. I was like, that's my guy. You know what I mean? Other guys, you got like Mike Glover, Fieldcraft Survival, right? He has blown up and he's done wonderful things. And he's got great character principles. They're all great dads and everything. Another guy, Tu Lam, this guy too, he's created this company called Ronin Tactics, right? And he became a character on Call of Duty video game.
Really?
Yeah. And so I just want to celebrate all those guys, and, there's no way I could even, get to, where they're at now, if it wasn't for, Warrior Rising and what it's done for me and, a lot of the other guys in our community. I can't, I could sit here and talk all day about Warrior Rising and the players, the star players that they have in there, who they have to look at all these vets, right? And they have to kind of make a determination of how does this vet think, right? How am I going to get this important information through to this guy, right? And so they've got to be creative and they've got to be very well versed and they've got to be very experienced, in business, right? And more importantly, in Warrior Rising, I think one of the biggest things for the guys that are running it, for me anyways, is they're so selfless. They're so selfless. They're constantly giving of themselves. And they're, the thing that puts a smile on their face and a swagger in their step is my success.
Seeing you succeed.
Yeah. And I'm saying, man, how am I going to give back to these guys? You know what I mean? How can I help them? So
That's their why.
Yeah.
You can tell by how it brings them joy to see you succeed. It's like their why is to help you guys.
You see, the smile on their face when they're helping somebody out, and they laugh sometimes because they've been there, right? And they laugh, they're like, I've been there. I know exactly what you're going through. Fortunately now, because of some mistakes I've made, we've got some tools, right?
That
to
alone
show
is
you.
probably a great tool. Like, to hit a stumbling block in business and be able to call those guys and just
Oh, yeah, I
have them
tell you.
laugh with you?
Yeah, yeah.
Don't worry, man. You're going to make it through.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things. I'm really thankful that, you know, I've got that resource available to me, and, you know, everyone, like my sons are serving in the military right now, and I want them to be able to use this resource when they get out, and they will be able to, because, you know, they will be veterans as soon as they leave active duty.
Yeah.
You know, in my family, we have a rule: everybody serves at least one tour, and you know, my boys are doing their job right now. So, yeah, I couldn't be prouder.
You tell them thanks for me too.
I will. I'm so small in this world compared to some of these giants that I walk among, and to be able to learn from those guys and take some advice and tips from them, it's changed my life. It's changed so many other veterans' lives, and we continue. You know, Jason Van Camp and the Warrior Rising team. You know, they got the mentality. You know, pay it forward, and that's what they've done for me.
That's the coolest part about you guys. I think you're a lot bigger than you think you are, man. You're a giant. I can tell just sitting by you. One last question: if you got the idea for your business so fast, right? Mm-hmm. Did you get that before or after you became Warrior Rising?
Before.
Now, how is it that they helped your business? Is it more than a support system? Is it education? Is it
Yeah, so it's a support system. It's networking and resourcing. It's education. It's a toolbox, not just a tool for me, right? It's the entire toolbox of business, right? So for every facet I have in my business, one thing Warrior Rising taught me was I got a lot of blind spots that I don't know about, right? Yeah. So I had the idea and I had the curriculum for what I wanted to do, right? And that's maybe 1%. I didn't realize it, you know what I mean? I thought I got it pretty well shaked out, right? Yeah. You know, I got a website, I got a business plan, this, that, or the other.
A lot of blind spots.
And I had so many blind spots. So they literally not just gave me the tool, but the toolbox, everything that goes in it. So that would be, to be that, you know, porcupine gun truck, you know, guns in 360-degree direction. Ready to go, man.
Dude, that's
Thanks,
great.
brother.
Dude, perfect summary right there. Well, I asked all those questions for this reason, because I want you guys to look at Warrior Rising. If you're a vet and you want to be able to start a business, be able to grow, or you just need a support group, look for Warrior Rising, because these are your brothers that are going to help you be successful. We are building the truck because we freaking love veterans, man. We love America. We love the guys that fought for our country and fight consistently for our country. We want them to be successful as well. So we're going to build this gun truck, A, because it's cool, B, because the guys build it for are super cool, and C, because I want you to come take a ride in it.
That's right. That's right. Come take a ride in this thing. I know I'm going to be first in line.